Something really fundamental is happening right now. We're seeing technology like AI accelerate at a pace we've never seen before. But at the exact same time, our ability to govern it is completely fracturing. Instead of some unified global plan, the world is splitting apart, creating this massive new divide.
And this really brings us to a powerful new concept, the acceleration divide. Now, this isn't just about who has the fanciest new tech. No, this is a deep philosophical split over how all this new power should be controlled. And according to this recent policy report, that divide truly locked into place in the third quarter of 2025.
Okay, so to really understand why we have this huge policy split, you first have to grasp the sheer mind-bending speed of the technology that's forcing everyone's hand. The absolute game changer here is what we're calling agentic AI. We are moving way beyond AI that just gives you answers or writes an email for you. This is AI that takes action. Think about things like OpenAI's agent mode that can go into your GitHub or your Gmail and actually do stuff, or Google's DeepThink, which can perform these complex, multi-step tasks all on its own. AI is literally moving from being your co-pilot to being the pilot. And the power behind these new agents? Well, it's just exploding. The performance of the supercomputers that train these things is doubling every 9 months. I mean, just think about that pace. This has created what experts are calling the compute imperative. This idea that AI dominance isn't a software race anymore. It's an industrial race. It's about who can build the most chips, the most data centers, and secure the massive amounts of energy to power it all. And here's what's so crucial to understand. None of these technologies exist in a vacuum. They're actually forming this interconnected meta-technology platform. It's a feedback loop, right? AI speeds up discoveries in biology. Quantum computing could totally supercharge how we train AI, and then that same biology might create DNA-based data storage for the next generation of AI. It's this powerful, self-accelerating cycle that makes trying to regulate just one piece of it almost impossible. So you have this technological explosion. How are the world's major powers responding? Well, the short answer is not together. They are each writing their own, completely different rulebook, and in doing so, they're creating 3 very different versions of the future. This really gets to the core of the conflict, especially in the West. On one side, you've got the classic US model of permissionless innovation. Basically, build it first, break things, and we'll only regulate it later if there's proven harm. The goal is speed. But then you have the EU's precautionary principle, which is the total opposite. It says you have to prove it's safe before you release it. The goal there is to maximize safety. So you have this fundamental clash, speed versus safety. And when you lay it all out like this, the differences become crystal clear. The US is fundamentally market-driven. The EU is driven by fundamental rights, and China is all about state control. I mean, just look at how they each treat data. For the US, it's a strategic asset for companies. For Europe, it's a fundamental right of the individual. And for China, it's a state-controlled resource. You're talking about 3 completely different philosophies, and they're leading to 3 completely different worlds. But, it isn't just a simple 3-way race. Other major powers are busy forging their own path. A great example is India's #AI for all mission. Their goal isn't really to pick a side between the US, the EU, or China. It's to build its own sovereign capability, to solve its own domestic problems, and to avoid becoming dependent on any single bloc. It's a strategic third way. Now, these high-level policy battles, they're not just happening in government buildings and closed-door meetings. They are creating very real fault lines in our society, impacting our jobs, our security, and maybe most importantly, our trust in all of this technology. First, let's just look at the economic hit. A recent PwC report found that workers with AI skills are now earning a staggering 56% more on average. Now, that's not just a nice pay bump. That is a massive economic chasm opening up in the job market between those who know how to use this tech and those who don't. At the same time, the very idea of what national security means is being completely rewritten. It's no longer just about who has the most tanks and jets. Security now means controlling the semiconductor supply chain. It means defending your society against AI-powered disinformation. And it means fighting to write the global technical standards that everyone else will have to follow. Suddenly, industrial policy is national security policy. But here's the kicker. For all this incredible progress, there's one huge, glaring problem. Nobody actually trusts it. A recent survey found that a whopping 75% of the public is skeptical or just not confident in conversational AI. Let that sink in. 3 out of every 4 people. That's not a small issue. That is a fundamental collapse of public trust.
And if you're wondering why trust is so low, well, look no further. This is all from a single quarter. You had a leaked memo about Meta's chatbots and their potential interactions with children, a horrific lawsuit against OpenAI, and the constant, relentless flood of political deepfakes poisoning our information ecosystem. These aren't some far-off theoretical risks. These are real, high-profile failures that are just gutting public confidence.
So, in this increasingly fragmented world where technology is accelerating and trust is collapsing, where do we even go from here? What are the next big flashpoints that we really need to be watching out for?
Well, there are a few big ones on the horizon. First, expect a fierce battle over technical standards. This is where nations will literally fight to code their own values into the DNA of future AI. Second, you'll see regulation shift from just policing AI's answers to trying to govern its actions as it becomes more autonomous. And third, the quantum threat. The idea that quantum computers could break all our current encryption is going to become a full-blown security emergency, sparking a global race to secure our entire digital world.
Which really brings us to our final question. As we try to navigate this acceleration divide, with technology moving faster than ever and our global rules splintering apart, maybe the ultimate competitive advantage won't be the fastest chip or the biggest data center. Maybe, just maybe, in the end, trust is the only currency that will truly matter.